Hello! Today we are going to draw in real time and chat. I am going to be attempting to draw Laura from The Evil Within as relatively quickly as possible. I'm currently working on editing some videos where I attempt to draw some different subjects in 10 minutes. And make a semi-finished picture. I guess I've been trying to combat my inherent slowness. So let's jump into it. The first thing I'm going to do is do a couple thumbnail sketches. Let's see. Okay. Which I guess are going to be really tiny. Maybe I'll do them a little bit bigger. So you weren't, I don't know if I've mentioned this yet in these recent videos, but I'm a big fan of The Evil Within. Definitely one of my favorite video game series, probably along with Silent Hill up there, the Alice games up there. And Laura is definitely one of my favorite creature designs. I was working on a design of her a long time ago, potentially as a tattoo piece, but it was quite a large and complex piece, and I had to get put on hold because my old computer was not working very well. But yeah. Okay, let's see. Now bear with me, please, because this is like my first time drawing and talking at the same time, so I'm probably going to be a little bit slow at first. Okay, let's see. These bad boys right here. Let's think would be a fun pose here. Draw the hair a little lower. And then, how do we want to do these? I can tell you right now that when I was working on my other picture of Laura, the biggest hang-up was definitely her hands and claws, specifically. Because of course they're a very important part of the overall design in any picture of her, because they're one of her main features. So therefore trying to get them quite right can be a little bit difficult. And then of course perspective plays a role as well. Probably be cut off about right there. Probably about there. Okay, we also have to think about how I want to frame this roughly. Thinking maybe zooming it in a little bit more than I traditionally would. Maybe about like that. I'm going to be doing this on a 5x7 piece of Bristol. That's usually the preferred paper I use when I do ink drawings. Some hair flyaways. Okay. That's a very rough sort of idea of what the final picture will look like. Let's set that over there. Okay, so here's the Bristol paper. Maybe we'll try this. This is a 4H mechanical pencil. Like, it's actually just a pretty much cheap mechanical pencil that I bought, and I bought a collection of different lead hardnesses for this size and put them in a bunch of these cheap mechanical pencils. These cheap mechanical pencils are like pretty much what has carried me through a lot of my sketching time. Okay, now this is the tricky part, because this is where I have to do the actual sketch and not do it super hard on the paper, which is kind of my tendency. Okay. So I did want to mention I am trying to work on prepping for the Space Show, which, if you don't know, it's the Small Press and Alternative Comics Expo. I believe that's what it's called. That happens in Hilliard, Ohio, March 28th and 29th. I'm going to be there with Oven Mother number 2, which I do have in hand now, and it is available to buy both digitally and in physical form. I haven't sent out my newsletter yet, but it is on the websites and on the shops. So if you want to check that out, I would greatly appreciate that. The digital download on my coffee is only $3, and I have both issue 1 and issue 2 on there right now. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for people to get to read it. It's definitely been a labor of love. It has, so far, I've usually averaged about a comic every about 3/4 of a year or so, but this is also only the second issue, and I do tend to work on other things in between. Like right now I'm working on a larger illustration that I do plan on making a video talking about once it's finished. I don't know. I feel like my philosophy a lot of times, or like what really gets me to work on something, it really has to be a passion project, which obviously is difficult because sometimes that doesn't always meld with what is the best thing to work on at a certain time. But it's just, I don't know, like to me, when I'm excited to draw, and that's like the best thing, because I've been drawing so long that sometimes it's hard to be excited anymore. So anytime that I can come up with an idea that really excites me, I definitely try to pursue that if I'm able. And I also like doing different sorts of projects, not all necessarily drawing based, even though typically they often involve some sort of visual element to them. So yeah, because like this picture that I've been working on recently was also a fan art, which I guess it's kind of interesting, because like the thing I have with fan art is that I really have to want to do it, because I have a tendency of getting bored very easily when doing fan art. I don't really know why. Like, I guess because, again, it's a sort of a passion thing. Like, there's things that I am very passionate about. Like, say, for instance, The Evil Within, I love a lot, but sometimes it's just very difficult for me to stay interested for, depending on how long it takes to complete the picture. Like, some pictures, of course, are easier than others to complete. Do a little bit of that. Other arms in here. Now, honestly, I am very much more so a digital artist, just because that's what I've been doing my whole life. Well, other than like when I was like a kid, I did things with or pencil and paper and whatever different materials, but I got a tablet probably around the age of like 11 or 12, like not an iPad, but like a screenless tablet for the computer. And pretty much ever since then, I was doing digital art primarily. Um, it's definitely, I think, easier to work faster, of course, digitally. On top of, I'm just more comfortable with it. But I try to do some traditional work when I'm able, because there is a time and a place where that's what I want to do or what I need to do. Let's see. But obviously, we're definitely getting past 10-minute mark, and I haven't even gotten my ink pens out yet. Okay, let's see. Do those under the other ones. We got these bad boys. Let's see. So, this is what I have so far. There's definitely some things I could see changing about it, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and just go in with ink and see what we end up with. You can't really judge a picture until it's done because You'll find out sometimes that things that you think aren't going to work out end up working out a lot better than you would anticipate it. To be fair, I'm not expecting this to turn out like necessarily amazing because, again, talking and drawing is sort of new for me. Traditional art is not my specialty. And you do have to give yourself grace when you're doing something that is not necessarily what you're used to. I do really love the visual element of the claws going over the face. I will say that. I do like that little visual element breaking up the face. I do have some other ideas for some traditional ink and mixed media stuff I want to do. It was originally what I was going to do today, but then I'm like, well, I think I might want to take some more time to stew on these ideas before I try to execute them. Try to get these shadows out of my way. hands might not come out quite that far with where I have the arms right now. I'm gonna get a bigger ink pen here. These are all brush pens. Pigma, Sakura Pigma brush pens. Like I said, I don't really do traditional a lot. I do enjoy a good brush pen. They're fun to use. A lot of times, the brushes I use digitally are reminiscent of brush pens, so it is something I'm semi-familiar with. I don't use this big one much. It's quite a bit of fun. I do love using hair to add movement to a piece, which is probably one of the reasons I like Laura a lot, because she has very long hair. So adding that movement is not very difficult with her. Plus, of course, the extra arms also add movement as well. Add a little bit of texture to her skin to give that wounded look. Okay. I don't know what the ink is. There we go. I don't think it's a bad attempt, honestly. She is, I think, more of a complex subject than I guess I was planning on, because in my head I'm like, oh, I've drawn her before. This will be easier. And it's like, well, she's got 2 extra arms and hands and claws and long hair and etc. So probably not quite as easy as I had suspected. If you would like to see me do more ink illustrations, please let me know in the comments below. And any Evil Within fans out there, feel free to shout. I do really need to do more fan art from the Evil Within. I do think I might do the Keeper for one of my 10-minute drawings. But that might be digital. I'm not sure yet. I do hope you enjoyed this little real-time illustration. And I will let you guys go. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.